Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's very special episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm calling it the holiday episode. Folks, we are on the cusp of a 4-day weekend for a lot of people. Most people that I know, including my brother, Neo Mental, is off today. Mrs. BoomStick, unfortunately, is not, but she is off on Monday. So it's going to be a nice long weekend. Let's start that weekend off with, of course, talking about our favorite pastime, and that is gaming. And as you can see on the screen, folks, I stayed up into the wee hours of the morning recording 2.5+ hours of footage of Dead Space. And I'm here to tell you that this game is still effing scary. And it released in 2008 was when this popped out. And that's going to be a good part of the show, folks. We have confirmation that, yes, Dead Space is coming back in a big way. And we're going to get into who broke that news and exactly what is going to be happening with it. Of course, we're going to be talking about Sony. Like I was saying in the green room just moments ago, lots of peaks and valleys for Sony this week. Of course, it started off with the exciting news that Returnal developer Housemarque, not Marquee, just want to make sure I say that correctly, is now a part of Sony or SIE proper. And I'm very happy for the studio simply because, well, they have been working with them since the PlayStation 3 days. And yes, I think I get killed here, by the way. And, you know, it's great to see them have a home or a roof over their head. And they're going to do something special for Sony's fans. And I happen to be one of them. I didn't pick up Returnal. I will eventually. I know, Joe, you absolutely loved Returnal. But we'll get into why Sony had so many peaks and valleys this week. But let's get into the introductions first. And, of course, we're going to start with our special guests. And from one of my favorite places to watch the absolute definition of lunacy is Asa from Game On Daily. What you guys have been doing over there, especially. And listen, folks, the reason why Gaz isn't here, he's still possessed. I don't know what Jim Ryan did to him, but he got him good. We're trying to bring another priest in. I don't know if it's going to work. Asa, how the heck are you? And how do you handle being on the show with Gaz without breaking out and laughing your head off every week?
Oh, Boom, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the intro. And you yourself, you're obviously one of the hardest working people in this scene.
Thank you,
you're always so supportive and positive, and I love that. Gaz is a character. Gaz brings the energy, and nobody knows this, but I actually write all of his scripts. I don't write all of his scripts. He's mental. I couldn't write those if I tried, but I do laugh my head off. Fortunately, I'm privy to seeing these things before everybody else, so I've got time to compose myself. I laugh my head off, compose myself, damage control, and on we go. And it's a great time. We've got good chemistry, so we have loads of fun. He's not here, though. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's great to have you, dude. Love again. I'm a big fan of your channel. I really want to see, folks. I have to say this with absolute confidence. If you're a fan of mine, if you trust my opinion, you folks got to get over and you have to subscribe to Game On Daily. I mean, they are doing it right. They are in 2021. They're doing it the way it's supposed to be done when it comes to content creation, making gaming fun, and more importantly, interacting with the community. You got to subscribe. We got to get you got your numbers up for sure. We love what you do over there. And if I can help promote you any more than I can, it'd be my absolute pleasure. But thank you for being here. And of course, talking about mayhem, talking about pure nastiness in its best form possible, Noof Nukem has returned to Double Barrel Gaming. How the heck are you, Noof? And what you been up to?
Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof Nukem is in the room. Guys, welcome. And yes, thank you for having me back on this beautiful Friday morning up here in good old Canada. We just celebrated Canada Day. And yeah, good times, man. Good to be here. Dreadpool, good to see you there, my friend. Asa, Mr. Bad Bit. This is going to be a good show. Lots of great topics. I'll stop babbling and let's get right down to it.
Thank you very much for being here, brother. And definitely, we can't wait to hear. Of course, I know Arnie is going to be making an appearance later. Right now, he is just waking up. He's getting his second shot of coffee, and we'll have him back with us soon enough. And of course, Mr. Bad Bit, who just got up, who just had an incredible breakfast. Joe, how are you, man? And how are you feeling? I know that you can't wait to get into a lot of, I mean, there was a lot of good news for Sony to open up, and they kind of pooped the bed a little bit with Japan making an announcement of a studio that they don't own, and then of course the I don't know what the miscommunication was when it came to Ghost of Tsushima. Now, this is the game that you and I love. You and I both platinumed. That it's a masterpiece, folks. If you missed out on it during the PlayStation 4 days, I definitely implore you to play it. It is really, it's probably Sucker Punch's best game that they've ever made. Without doubt, it's exciting that we're getting some DLC in the form of like a Lost Legacy, a Miles Morales-esque type of DLC. So I'm very excited for that. But the confusion behind
I'm
upgrading,
so confused.
We'll get into it. Joe, how are you feeling, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. I woke up 30 minutes ago. I'm ready to go. Everybody else has their cameras on, not me.
That's okay.
Because honestly,
That's
I
okay.
just threw everything. I feel awkward. You know, I'm happy to be here, man. I'm here to vent. I'm here to laugh, cry, all that stuff. Also, I think we do need an intervention or some type of, we need to help Gaz because I think he's losing it.
He's possessed. I tell you, I don't know who
is it possession. Him. I think we need do we need Catholicism? You think that's going to be the ticket in? All right,
maybe. Real quick, I want to show everybody what I'm wearing today. Of course it's clothes, but I'm wearing a Seasoned Gaming T-shirt, supporting my brother over there. Ainsley is, I listen, when you guys put these shirts out there, Mrs. BoomStick and I jump into action because they're all for good causes, and I wanted to show my support with. And again, Seasoned Game is another one. They need to get some subs over there because they're just so good. And speaking of just to bring it back to Game On Daily, I'm going to be a guest tomorrow with Gaz and of course Aza. I cannot wait to see what they're going to be doing and what we're going to be
together. We're going to be together because I'm going to be there too.
3 days in a row: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Joe, how you like them apples?
Oh, dude, awesome,
absolutely. Well, folks, let's get into why you're here. You're here to talk about video games, and we are going to open up with a lot of the Sony news. Now, Sony adds one confirmed new studio. And they have a misquote that many are scratching their heads about regarding Blue Point Games, and there's a rumored third acquisition that's going to be happening in the form of Arc System Works. But they also announced that Dutch studio Nix's software has been added to, of course, SIE, and that's actually been confirmed. Now, as you know, the talent behind such hits as the recently released Returnal, Housemarque, has been added to the fray, and that's great. Like we were just saying momentarily, it's great to see them have a roof over their head. They are a fine studio, and they're going to make some great games for Sony. And what's important here is that because they've worked with Sony for so long, it almost seems like if they wouldn't have done this, it would have been unfair. Like I think that this is a long time coming, and I'm glad it happened. But where we get into some of the controversy, and again, this is where we're talking about the peaks and valleys with Sony. Over the weekend, Joe Yates made mention that we saw the memes of Xbox Game Pass basically just take over social media. Now, I don't know if this made Sony have to wait to drop all of this information, or was specifically going to be this week. But the peaks and valleys that we're talking about is on the same day that Housemarque was announced as welcome to the family, Sony of Japan did something. Now, this is a bit of a boo-boo, and I don't understand how this happens. I don't understand, considering that they are really the masters of marketing. I don't understand how a mistake this large could happen. But they posted a picture of the Blue Point logo, and it was behind it was, of course, all the Sony studios, and said, "Welcome to the family." Now, what is extremely strange here is that Blue Point Games just yesterday changed their Twitter bio that stated it's fully independent, right? Now, it goes on to say here that the Demon's Souls developer has recently added to its added a fully independent, self-funded studio to its Twitter bio, which appears wasn't previously contained in the social media site's description of the company as recently as March 2021.
Yeah.
Now, not only this, but the studio also allegedly added the same phrase to a job listing on a website so that it now reads, Blue Point Games, an independent studio renowned for the remakes of Demon Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, is seeking industry-leading talent to join us in crafting our next high-profile AAA game. Joe, look, listen, like I said, the Returnal news, very exciting.
Very excited.
I don't know who the Dutch studio is. I don't know who Nixus is, but if Sony is signing them, obviously,
I know.
Okay, so you'll go into that. But
Yeah.
what do you think happened with Blue Point Games, and why would they change their Twitter handle so abruptly?
Probably okay. So this is not my idea. This is A&T smarter than me. Probably whoever is the investors of Blue Point don't want it to be announced, or they have not fully finalized the deal yet, is probably the reason why they didn't want that to get out, or why they changed the bio of their Twitter. But it is something like you kind of, you kind of raise an eyebrow at. First off, I want to say huge congrats to Housemarque, because they're just such a great studio that fits what PlayStation's about. And these are the type of acquisitions that get me the most excited. When we see an Insomniac go to PlayStation, or even to a large extent Bethesda come to Xbox, it definitely feels like the developers are coming home in a way, because they have such, they have such ties with these companies, and Housemarque has, since the early PS3 era. So it's cool to see that, now they'll be able to build bigger games, more ambitious games, and hopefully more Returnal-like games, because damn, that game was fun as hell. So I'm happy there. Nexus is a port studio.
Okay.
And so here's the interesting thing. Here's the thing that PlayStation fans will now need to get over. Nexus ports games to PC. That's their thing. So they worked very heavily. Yeah, so they worked really heavily with Square Enix, with like all the Tomb Raiders and Marvel's Avengers. So they're known to make solid ports of things. So what this studio is more than anything is a support studio, in the sense of, they'll be working with, for example, they'll be working with Sucker Punch for, Ghost of Tsushima, PC port. And that's what their job would be. Again, not official or anything like that, just an example. That's what they'd be used for. So PlayStation fans, y'all got to get over it. Your games are coming to PC, okay? There it is. That's it. Get over it. For the Blue Point stuff, though, that is the thing that strikes me odd. So how did that mistake happen? Well, someone that probably doesn't get paid enough at Japan Studios has a folder of all the things that or announcements or acquisitions that they have. And someone made an oopsie. Someone confused the wrong logo and put it in their their tweet deck and scheduled it. So I definitely see that. That's happened too. Like, where the places I've been at. Yeah. Those mistakes get made, and they are rectified immediately. And, this is probably one that they didn't want to announce yet, but chances are this is happening. Cause the one question is like, why did Blue Point say they're a fully independent studio? And at the same time, then, well, if they did that, why did, PlayStation literally made that asset? They made that asset, they saved that asset, and they had intent to send that asset, right? So this is something that's definitely, if I was a betting man, still happening, but it is something that is a little confusing. It's just not there yet. And so, I overall, I'm very excited to see these studios come home to PlayStation. especially Housemarque and Nixus as well, because again, more games to more people has never been a bad thing. PlayStation needs a studio like Nixus because they don't have the infrastructure Microsoft has in terms of porting their games over to, PC. Xbox has been doing it for a bit. So this is Sony kind of playing catch up in terms of putting games on PC. You're going to see it next 5 years, man. These things are day and date. So just get over it.
I'm glad that you talked about that. Real quick, before we get into Asa, I got to apologize publicly on the air because I don't know what the hell's wrong with me sometimes. I was talking to Dreadpool for 15 minutes before the goddamn show went live, and I forgot to do his freaking intro. I don't understand. I think I'm just getting old. First of all, Dreadpool, welcome back, brother. I know you had a couple of weeks off. Glad to have you a part of the show. And how you been?
Not too bad. It's all right. It happens, right? It happens to the best of us.
The worst.
Yeah, well, So basically, I'm going to say, good morning, everyone. How are you going? How you doing? Today's breakfast, just so you know, is a store-bought name brand cinnamon roll.
Delicious.
Bacon. That is
nice.
That is my wife's staple breakfast ever since she was pregnant. That was like the main thing so every so often we will pop that out, and makes no sense why we do it, but
listen, as long as it's tasty, right? That's all.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
So we're all good.
Well, thanks so much for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Real quick, Chaos Mike drops the first super chat of the night, the day, I should say, and $5 and says, "Hit the like button, my brothers. My brothers from another mother." Well, yeah, dude, definitely appreciate you being here, brother. And yes, we are definitely brothers from another mother. But Asa, let's get into the craziness, because we're going to get into Ghost of Tsushima, the confusion afterwards. I want to get through the again, the peaks and valleys with the announcements. Again, if the Blue Point thing happens, and Joe believes it's going to, and so do I for that matter, because why wouldn't it? Blue Point has worked with Sony for years, though. Again, I just think it's such a drop of the ball, and it really just takes the wind right out of the sails from Sony. I mean, again, the week started off with, "Hey, listen, congratulations, Returnal Studio, you're part of the family." Then they announced a Dutch studio that Joe has confirmed works, exclusively on PC ports, which makes sense because Sony likes money. I think all companies do. But then they dropped the ball and welcome a company to your first party studios, and then to have them change their bio on Twitter, man, it sends a bad message. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, so I'm gonna go through all of those acquisitions just like Joe did. They're interesting. The acquisitions and the potential and the speculated ones. So Housemarque, yeah, great fit. They were the first studio that ever had trophies in a game on the PlayStation 3.
Yep.
They've obviously dovetailed with Sony for a long time, and it just makes sense. It can go either way with those kind of studios. They either snap them up and protect them and keep them working like they have, or they go the way of Quantic Dream, where the relationship kind of distances and they decide to start exploring elsewhere. So it's good that they've taken Housemarque and they can keep doing what they're doing. And obviously they've got a little bit more ambitious in terms of the scope of their game. And that will continue, and I'm sure we'll see great things from them in the future. Blue Point is a really interesting one. Like, acquisitions are complicated, and it's really, really common for things to get really down to the wire and then potentially fall away or go ahead. And the only thing we can say for certain with Blue Point is that it got to that point. It's right down to the wire. The deal was as good as done, but it is not done. Assets were prepared, ready to be distributed. There's a communication breakdown. Someone put the wrong one on the wrong day. Blue Point's messaging on social media doesn't mean a lot. Them saying, "Oh, we're fully independent," like, that's just a little shielding. Like, please stop talking to us. They've probably got 100 journalists phoning them every minute saying, like, "What's going on with Sony? What's going on with Sony? What's going on with Sony?" They're preempting that and saying, "Look, leave us alone." That's all that social media update is. And their history. So a couple of years ago, they actually came out talking about what games they were working on. I can't remember which remaster they had just released at that point in time, but they were saying that they were in a really privileged position because they had a queue of publishers asking to work with them, just a massive queue, because they are remaster specialists.
Yes.
And all of these publishers with all of these catalogs of games, we're talking to them and they're saying, "This is great. We love doing these remasters. We can pick and choose what we want to do." So of course Sony are going to want to lock them down. They've done great work with Sony. They've got great prestige with Sony, and it makes a lot of sense. But there's definitely not a need on Blue Point's part. They've got a queue of work. They can carry on as they are. So we'll see. That one, I'm with Joe. I think it will go ahead, but there is definitely the potential for that to just completely fall apart and never happen.
Yeah.
Who knows what these final points are? Nixis. So Nixis are... Sony fans should be pleased about this. So their game's going to PC is inevitable. Everybody knows it's inevitable. Sony have said that it's happening. So there's no point in getting all upset and writing petitions and kicking over dustbins or whatever they're doing. I don't know. But Nixis is a different approach to what Microsoft are doing. So Microsoft, when they're making games, they target a broad range of platforms from the off. So if you're at the Coalition and you're making Gears of War 6, you're making that game for low-spec PCs for Xbox One. Getting ahead of, it might not be Xbox One, but you're making it for a broad range of hardware. You've got the Series S, you've got the Series X, and you've got mechanical hard drives in those PCs. You've got a lot to think about and a lot to cater for. Sony's big advantage with the PlayStation 5, if they've got one, they've got a less powerful console, but they can laser focus that hardware. They've always been able to do that with their consoles, and that's why they've always punched above their weight. They've never needed to think broadly about all this other hardware that this game needs to run on. With Nixis, they can still kind of do that. So Sucker Punch or whoever else is making these games can laser focus on the PlayStation and kind of
someone
offload
on the back
support.
end. Yeah.
Say, yeah, do your best with it. Do your best. And sorry, I'm a little bit bunged up. But yeah, that's like, it's a good situation for a Sony fan because you're still going to get those really well-refined, really top-notch exclusives, perfectly catered to, and the PlayStation just has this one spec of PlayStation. You can have a disk drive or you can not, but there's one spec of hardware that matters. So they can laser focus, and that's a positive for them. Nixis enables that to continue despite this new world where they want to expand to PC and everywhere else. And the other one is Arx. There's pretty strong rumors of Arc System Works, who are renowned for their competitive beat 'em ups. So they did the Fighter Z, they do the Guilty Gear Strive ones that's been reviewing really, really strongly recently. I've seen loads of reviews for that are all over the 9 out of 10 mark. So strong game, and Sony obviously bought Evo as well for esports. So you'd imagine there's things that they can do together. Obviously, this deal is only rumored. We don't know that it's happening, but again, it kind of makes sense. So,
well, I mean, these studios, these studios mostly or exclusively worked. I mean, like even like the Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, like there's only been a handful of them, and I think maybe 2 or 3 of them on an Xbox platform where they originally started. I mean, I imported Guilty Gear 1 from Japan, and I remember playing it and I'm saying, my God, this is something special here. This is like Soul Calibur meets Street Fighter. And I was been a fan ever since. So if Arc System Works winds up getting it, if Blue Point winds up becoming, and they have these 4, small studios, I think that's a big win for Sony for sure, because they make very unique titles that fill a niche outside of the big AAA $50 million bangers. I don't know. I mean, listen, again, I find it very suspect when you see these kinds of mistakes on a Sony that notoriously has been so good in their marketing and their messaging. It's to me was extremely out of character. Noof, let's grab your opinion on this, brother. What I mean, listen, again, whether you played Returnal or you didn't, to see a Housemarque, get a roof over their head permanently is a big deal. But what are your thoughts on the mistake with their social media team in Japan?
Well, it's great that they acquired the studio. They obviously have some talent, some pedigree, and just that just got bolstered by obviously the big reception, a very good reception that this game has certainly gotten. You can't really go wrong with more studios this day and age. And, it's great because the industry's really taking a turnaround. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where it seemed like every week was the opposite, where we saw studio closures and people getting disintegrated into other smaller studios and so on and so forth. And it seems like because the industry has expanded so much now, that people are getting acquired, and studios are getting that extra infrastructure. They have that a better team around them, more finances. That's always a key, right? Is having the resources and the finances to accomplish the dreams and visions. And you see that a lot of times where these studios certainly they show promise and then they really come out and deliver when they're backed by the resources and the know-how and the game engines and different things. So it's a huge boon for Sony here to have another high caliber studio in their midst. And as far as the blunder, you're talking about the whole Blue Point thing, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really weird, and it's almost shocking, like, because this has been rumored for a long time now. Like, it's like we've certainly heard lots of rumors, and sometimes, where there is fire, like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm almost shocked that it hasn't happened, and then Blue Point comes out and shuts that down, that they're not being acquired. I mean, obviously Blue Point has got massive talent in themselves to be able to take some of these older games and not only just remaster them well, but to rework them from the ground up, using their techniques and different things. And they're definitely on to something. They've had several big hits now, everything from Shadow of the Colossus right down through, and different things. So it's kind of baffling how something like that sort of slips out, or if it was just you do up those graphics in advance hoping, or it's something from fanboys. I don't know, but it's kind of weird. At the same time, you know what? Sony is going to be just fine with or without them. That's the thing. And maybe it'll happen in the future. Maybe it's one of those just rumors that you shoot down for the moment just because it just doesn't work for the time, but you never know. Maybe 6 months down the road or something like that, or who knows? Sometimes these rumors, whether they're true or they're false, they turn out to get you exactly what you're looking for: marketing and publicity, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All of a sudden you went from being a non-topic to the topic on various podcasts each and every week. So I don't know, but I think the acquisitions are great. Having Nixus join as well, while they might be on a smaller scale, they obviously know how to, again, port different things. So there are lots of port work. So that's just a step in the right direction. And that might also be an indicator that Blue Point could still be in the works. And perhaps it's just one of those things that you just don't put out there, at least until the paperwork's sort of dried, because there's a lot of implications that can happen. There's a lot of legalities that can happen as well if you kind of toot your own horn long before you set the fires up to the pillars. So I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I think I like what they're doing. Returnal, like I said, it's been a great acquisition here, or the developer, and look forward to seeing what they do in the future.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Dreadpool, I saved you for last because you obviously work in big business, and you've seen mistakes like this happen on a regular basis. But to see Sony, of all people, and this isn't the only thing we're going to be getting into. We're going to be talking about the controversy surrounding Ghost of Tsushima's August release, the PlayStation 4 version versus the PlayStation 5 version. One's $70, one's $60. People were actually asking Sony, what if I don't want to buy the $70 version for the PlayStation 5? Can I upgrade? So it's not just that, but it seems like there's something wrong with Sony. I mean, they're certainly not. I mean, all of this kind of hubbub, if you will, is out of character. What do you think is going on there?
I think Phil Harrison has a part-time job at Sony.
It could be, or Donnie D.
Donnie D too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the way that Phil talks, and then creates like a hype, and then it just never delivers. Donnie D downplays everything. So, but yeah, I mean, everybody's brought up the logical good points and everything, and it makes sense. I mean, the thing we forget is everything fits in. It makes sense. And why wouldn't you want to do this? It seems like we are actually seeing Sony's plans laid out. Okay, this is the silent part of Sony that's now becoming the visual for us. Not exactly audible for them telling us what they're doing, and then see something different, or the dance moves. But it's just, we can actually see this, and this is part of logistically sitting down and logically looking at everything, right? So bringing in studios, right? You got to be competitive with Game Pass. You got to be competitive with what Microsoft is doing. They've been quiet. Why? Because they need to make sure that they come out at the right time and have the upper hand. How many times has Microsoft put out and Sony's always had the upper hand? So no matter what they've done, they look like dog shit. You know what I mean? But that's because they put themselves in that situation, and Sony put themselves in a better situation. So it's like, oh, you got that? Here's my cards. Read them and weep.
Saying you have a difference of opinion, that's frowned upon.
Oh, well, it just happens that way. You can't. So, but that's the thing. I mean, you want these studios to fit in, right? And they've been working together for so long that it fits in. Now, the mishap that obviously, yet again, you don't tell your employees that you're selling your company, right? They buy a house and they tell you, hey, I just put a bid on this house, and you know that you're going to sell the company. You don't tell them anything because that's a management thing that legally you can't. You're required to keep it all hush hush. So this is probably something that, like Asa said, it was down to the wire, and whether or not it's happening, it's still up in the air. It doesn't mean that it's definitely a no-go. But it also, when it comes to stocks, it comes to, what their price is. You know what I mean? Hype has that big difference in that price. So the more hyped up people are about this, and it's like, well, now we're worth more, so that could falter some of the deals, so somebody might have a big head saying, I'm worth more than this. I mean, look at all the fanfare that we got. We're actually worth more than what you guys said that we're worth, so there's a lot of factors in this that until it is ready, it's hush hush, and that could have just killed the deal right there, but we just got to see how far into it is, and just, keep an eye on it down the road. It's never 100% until they have the intent and everything is signed. Yeah. So until it's to that point, you never know. It could be a year from now. They'll just let it die off, and it could be next week. So we never know. Now, for the porting, Nixus. I mean, yet again, it makes sense. You see that they're going to PC. You see that they're opening up into different revenues. This makes sense right here. If they're the master, they're called one of the masters of porting. So, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Bring some old stuff back up, clean them up, bring some old stuff over to another platform, which would be PC, never Xbox. But it's just looking at everything little bit at a time, and then you look at it as a whole, and you can see what's going on. So yeah, they're doing good. They've got it all planned out. And yet again, just because you're quiet doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. Just because you're loud doesn't mean that you are doing anything. So it's all strategy, and we just don't know what they're doing. And every time you talk and misspeak, like Phil Harrison or somebody else we know, Dance Moves, it has a negative effect. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think that they're going anywhere. I don't think that they're doing anything. They're not going to be an EA where they take a studio and tear it apart, and the studio just has a name and that's it. No, it's not valid with what it used to be and known for.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that Sony is gonna cultivate these studios and let them do what they do. There's no doubt about that. Big Cloud Gaming, welcome to the program, brother. How you been?
What's going on?
Not much, brother. You came in the nick of time. We were talking about the peaks and valleys of Sony this week. Lots of highs, few lows. A little confusion. So we opened up with, of course, the exciting news that Housemarque is now a part of SIE proper, and that's a big deal. They've been working with them for years, so I'm very happy for them. We saw that we got the rumor that Arc System Works, makers of course, Blaze Blue, and they're most famous for Guilty Gear, which has a new game out, is going to be joining, and I'm excited for that because, like I said, I mean, I play Guilty Gear on PlayStation. Yeah, sure, would I play on the Xbox? Yeah, but it's no big deal for me.
Also, Bluepoint was on the list too. They tweeted that out earlier, but it was like they said it was like a wrong tweet. But I'm like, okay, you just spoiled a surprise then at that point.
Yeah, and that's actually that's what we were just getting. That's exactly what we were talking about. Again, it's it's exciting that they added Nixus. Sony's going to be doing some things that maybe some fans aren't going to like. PC porting is something that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be day and date. I don't think it's going to be a Microsoft situation where they're releasing to like Starfield PC and Xbox day one. I don't think that is going to happen. I think what you're going to get is you might get 6 months in between to get that PC money.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, again, if you're a fan of Sony, like, why would you care? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why people would be mad.
It's interesting that dudes who are obsessed with sales are now all of a sudden against this. It's like it's more money in their pocket, quote unquote, if they did this. So it's weird the way people are flipping it.
Well, I mean, it allows them to invest in buying studios like they just did. It allows them to invest in bigger games. I mean, there's a ton of advantages for releasing on PC. I don't understand why people are all bent out of shape, but it is what it is. But let me ask you a question about the Blue Point thing. Now, a couple of people on the panels made even hinted suggestions that an error such as this could, in fact, do damage to a deal. I don't think that is going to happen. I think that this is something that they let the cat out of the bag a little early. I just found it very, very suspicious that Blue Point did all of these changes in that we're fully independent. How do you think this mistake? I mean, I understand human error is a thing, but this is a big. I mean, this is a big boo boo. And do you think that it pulled the wind out of the sails for Sony this week?
No, I don't think none of these accusations affected the sales whatsoever. I think they're fine on sales. It's just it's all about the public's perspective. That's all. Like people saw it, it was like, that's a little weird, that it just dropped immediately as soon as Housemarque. That's the only thing that people are confused by. The thing about Sony, and we always talked about this, is they're not transparent as much as the competition. They had to be super transparent. And so the messaging is definitely off. That's about it for them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, listen, again, they'll right the ship, I would imagine, eventually. But keeping Sony in the conversation, and it's going to be at least half the show. We got to talk about Ghost of Tsushima. Joe, I got to bring you back in on the conversation.
Oh Christ!
This is another one that it's a head scratcher because listen, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I will platinum that game again. You and I.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's guaranteed. Your saves are carry over.
Yeah,
but what I found to be, again, this is what it's drives me crazy with Sony, because you expect better. Like if Microsoft does something stupid like this, you're like, well, it's Microsoft. They always kind of mess up like that. When Sony does stuff like this, you're like, what? Who's driving the car? Now, what happened yesterday, folks? Is Ghost of Tsushima, which was 2020's, in my opinion, game of the year. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody said. That is just my opinion on it. It is absolutely a fact. The game, I feel, again, we're not going to get. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole with Big Cloud and Mr. Badbit. My feelings on The Last of Us, the score should have been reversed.
Yeah, I think we should just leave it, Boo, because you know how people are.
We talked about that to we're blue in the face, because listen,
wasn't worth it.
The game is a masterpiece. It is honestly Sucker Punch's best work to date. There's no other way to put it.
I didn't like it.
So you didn't like it. Okay, no, that's okay. We'll get into it.
Shame on you, Asa. Shame on you. So much shame that I'm using the Logitech webcam.
He didn't like Ghost of Tsushima? Oh man,
shoulder the shame.
No, it's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But getting back to what was announced, if anything, this should have been a celebratory type of announcement, because the game has so many people in their feelings in a good way, right? Yeah. And they muffed it up once again with confusion. People, I saw threads after threads after threads of people not understanding what they had to do. If they would have simply just come out and said, hey, PS4 players, if you own a PlayStation 5 and you want the PlayStation 5 upgrade, guess what? $30 gets you everything, including the new DLC, the other island. Everyone is happy. But, obviously, I think that now people, because of smart delivery on the Xbox side, are expecting those type of upgrades for free. We saw that type of upgrade. As a matter of fact, I couldn't find, for some ridiculous reason, Resident Evil 8 for the PlayStation 5's Collector's Edition. I could not find it. So I was like, well, F it. I'm going to get the PlayStation 4 version and I'll sell it. I'll sell it. It turns out that I was able to upgrade for free
Yeah.
So I played the PlayStation 5 version. I was like, wow, this is a freaking win. You know, I didn't, you know, this is great. So I think a lot of people were hoping that the PlayStation 5 version would have been included for free, and then you buy the, you know, the DLC for whatever. But they didn't explain it like that. Like I said, $30 for the new DLC and the PS5 upgrade, I'm doing hands down. I'm not buying the $70 version because I don't need to. I own the game.
Right.
Yeah, talk about it, Joe.
All right. So, you know, how are people confused by this? This comes from the PlayStation blog itself. If you already own a PS4, you could pre-order an upgrade to the Director's Cut on PS4 for $19.99. This upgrade will be available at launch. Starting at launch, if you bought the Director's Cut on PS4, you'll be able to upgrade the Director's Cut at $9.99. All right, fine. Then you could also upgrade. This is where it gets freaking weird. You could also upgrade directly from the original Ghost of Tsushima PS4 to the Director's Cut on PS5 for $30. There are just so many numbers here that it's easy to get bogged down on. It's Sony really wants that $10 out of you. They really want that $10 upgrade.
Then we had this conversation last night. Like they're going to throw everything at you just to justify that shit too. Like,
yes,
and it's funny.
And you don't need it. Like real talk. The game runs. The game runs for like you know, what is it, like 1440 by 60?
Yes.
Yeah. The upgrades include the 3D sound. They include the haptics. You don't necessarily need to upgrade.
I can't wait to see you. Yes.
But like, so honestly, this is it's just confusing. And you could take a look at like how Xbox has done it. And sure, they got Game Pass. They could justify some things. But like when you take a look at Hive Busters, it's just like, here's Hive Busters. It's on Game Pass. All right, we'll see you guys. And you know, and they're like, we'll see you guys later. I have fun. I don't care if nobody plays this game. It's still there for you, and it's easy. You just freaking download it, and it's there. So this is just a whole lot of numbers confusing a whole lot of people. And that's where I get aggravated, because if I was the man in the room, right, what I would have done is I was like, okay, so I would have announced a price cut for the PlayStation 4 version weeks ago, leading up to and then just say, hey, listen, the DLC is $20, and that makes that 40, then the Director's Cut, then just a solid $20, like $60 experience. And also at the same exact time say, you know what, the PS5 version is the Director's Cut. It's one and the same. This game is a year old. You don't need to justify that extra $10. And just again, wipe your hands of it. Be done with it. Because then people have been like, okay, so the PS4 version's $40, cool. Upgrade is, you know, is $10 or $20, whatever. And that would have made it easy. It would have been like, oh, here's the Director's Cut. It's $20. Have fun with more Ghosts. But this one is literally straight up, we want that extra $10 from you to feel your controller rumble and to get, you know, make the triggers harder to press. So like semantics aside, that's what it really feels like. Like what they offered here, none of us have a problem, but by going, hey, I'll upgrade to the $30 because you're giving me more story. And if it's Miles Morales or Miles Morales Light, who cares? I'm in. This is great.
No question.
Yeah. Give me another island. Give me a small story. It's more Ghosts. Yes. Like development time has been taken away to work on these things. I get it that you want to sell it and it's your obligation. You want to make money. It's fine. If you worked on something, you should be able to sell that thing. So I get it. It's the upgrades thing that makes no sense. And they're lucky that I love Ghosts and that I'll chill for this goddamn game. Because if it was any other game, like I'm not gonna do this shit with Death Stranding. I don't love that game nearly as much as I love, you know, Ghosts. This is a great trial for them, though.
You know what's funny? You know what's gonna happen with Last of Us 2. I'm willing to bet shit's gonna happen. I'm willing to bet.
That's where they're going to drop the multiplayer. Exactly.
Because Factions has been held off way too damn long. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like now you can feel the golf club.
Yeah,
it's like, I get it, Sony. I get it.
That's great.
I get it.
The golf club. I
That
love it.
was a good one.
That's a good
It's
one.
just
like you put the DualSense against your temple.
Golf
Like,
Club Edition, huh, Joe?
Yeah,
Golf
yeah.
Club Edition. Oh man, here we go.
Yeah, so like this is Sony at its dumbest. Also, at the same exact time, I really do feel like, guys, in my heart of hearts, they're really testing how far they can Nintendo.
Absolutely.
Like,
I
how
think-
far
I
can
think you're
they?
onto something?
Because
Because-
Nintendo's waiting for the Switch Pro before they start charging $70. I'm telling
Not-
you, I
Not even that. It's just like they'll charge you. They'll give you a goddamn, like they'll be like this. Like, here's a little amiibo. And here's your like quick saver, your quick chat, like stupid stuff that just treats their fan base like garbage, and then they're just like, yeah, okay, more. Give me Metroid Dread. it's like the communication here. I get it. First off, there are a lot of things in the purview. Like, if I'm Sony, and if the rumors are correct, and if what everybody is saying is what's happening, they have to announce multiple acquisitions. They are running probably their most impactful state of play since 2016.
Yeah, we're
right?
going to get into that next too.
Yeah, like they have to sell this dumb director's edition. Like, they got a lot that they're working with, so I can understand some of the mistakes, but man, it's like, where's the nearest thing that I can trip on? And that's what it feels like communication wise. It's aggravating because they could be better than this.
Yeah,
So I don't know what's going on. I heard they hired a new intern called Phil, and last name Harrison. So maybe,
Oh no,
maybe they need to talk to him.
they need to pull that mask off of him for sure.
Yeah,
And make
exactly.
sure he's not cloning.
I'll
He
be
has
right
Jim.
back, guys.
He has Jim tied up in the back office, and he's got his mask on.
No,
Hey, so
my God.
let's get your opinion on this. Again, this is okay. So I did not know that you weren't a fan of Ghost of Tsushima. Fine, that's I totally get it. But I think that we're starting to swim in murky waters with these director's cuts. Now we know that we have the Kojima-led Death Stranding coming as a director's cut. We don't know what's going to be in that, right? They passed the announcement during E3. We don't know, but now we get this. Now again, granted, I would have stayed back. I'm not spending $70 on a game that I own. I don't have to do that. I can only spend $30 to get the upgrade, and I'm going to do that because if it was just sold as DLC traditionally, I would have just bought it like I did the Lost Legacy or Miles Morales, right? Again, this is something so out of characteristic with Sony. What the hell do you think is going on?
yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it? It's Bad Bit actually made a really good point in terms of they're trying to emulate Nintendo in general. There's another thing I've noticed on the PlayStation 5 store is none of the £70, £70 PlayStation 5 games have been steeply discounted yet.
No.
And that is very Nintendo. So you can see that that they're obviously taking some inspiration from the success of their fellow company over there. The messaging for this Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, it's mind-blowingly confusing. But what will matter more is how confusing it is when it actually releases to a wider audience. So you've got people like us that are trying to keep on the beat and see exactly what's happening and try and understand this approach that they're taking. When it comes down to actually launching it to a wider audience, if someone launches up Ghost of Tsushima and it says, press this button to get the correct update from the store, they'll probably be okay with it. It'll probably work for them. But communication's a mess. Communication within a company that size is difficult anyway. And you've already done a show talking about it, so I don't think we're going into it today very much. But you've had indie developers complaining about communication within Sony. And if you ever tried Sony's customer service, then you know that it's something that runs through the company in a bad way at the moment. Communication is difficult. And it's the most surprising thing for me is that they continue with it. They're brazenly doing this in the face of Xbox, doing it so differently. If Xbox didn't exist here and weren't part of the equation, and you were comparing Sony to Nintendo as their only competition, you'd probably be going, oh, We get to keep this game. It's on sale for more than 6 months. Oh, you're so generous, Sony. But no, Xbox are there doing the opposite, making it so easy. The only question, if Xbox were releasing this expansion, the only question would be like, do I have to pay at all, or is the expansion included on Game Pass? You know that the upgrades were going to be free. You just wouldn't quite be sure about the content, the Iki Island. And I don't. It's weird. It's got to catch up. It's got to hurt them a bit at some point, and things will get better then. But until then,
the gas is not on your side, so I'm throwing it at you right now. In the chat.
Gaz is not. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's why we work so well together. You got to butt heads a little bit. Goes to decision with the game itself, and why I say that I don't particularly enjoy it. I've never been a fan of stealth games particularly, and I got suckered into playing that one. I got told, "Oh, the stealth is pretty optional," and actually, you're probably like,
Asa, you
quite
tear my
well
heart
with
out.
Jin.
Stop.
Jin doesn't like stealth, right? He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to stab people in the back. He wants to run in like sword blazing, if that's a thing that you can say, which I'm going to say I don't care. It's going to be a blazing sword. That's what I want to do.
Well, yeah,
The game didn't let me do that, and I was just like, I don't like stealth. I'm not enjoying this. I don't like the Ubisoft formula of looking for foxes all over the world map and playing something else.
Dude, you know something?
Yeah.
I love that. That's why I love. I. You know what's funny? I didn't enjoy as much as I thought I was going to the last Assassin's Creed with the Vikings. Dude. I have a hard time getting back to it. But the Ghost of Tsushima, I do like the formula of having to chase and find things. But yeah, listen. All I can say is that this is. You made a great point, Asa, and I want to bring Noof Nukem into the conversation regarding that point, and Sony attempting to pull a Nintendo with Microsoft doing what they do. What are your thoughts on that, Noof?
Well, you know what? I don't like to tell people what to do with their money. It is your money, and I feel like some of this is on a case by case basis with a game. Because I don't want to be hypocritical and say, well, I don't agree with what they're doing here when I'm the same guy who would easily go out and pay $30 for Gears expansions or DLC because I love Gears of War, right? But at the same time. It goes for all of us. We have to be more careful with our money. We have to speak with our wallets because we're kind of sending a weird message to the industry. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is what? Not even barely a year old, if I'm correct.
Yes,
That is
correct.
And already we're getting a director's cut. Now, with the movie industry has been notorious for it, with getting a director's cut, but it's normally not quite as soon after the launch of the original theatrical version. Usually it comes a couple of years down the road in most cases, right? And I get it, definitive versions of games with hardware changing, but Ghost of Tsushima was a magnificent looking and running game, even on the base platform it came out for. I mean, how much those extra features mean to you? Is it worth the money? Again, that's on a case-by-case basis. If you love the game so much, by all means. But like you said, someone said, how far can Sony go before they're pulling a Nintendo? And you know what? By all means, keep up doing what you're doing, because the only thing you're really doing in the end of the day is you're actually making Xbox look far more attractive, is what you're doing, because everything that they're doing is largely almost the reverse opposite. It seems like the free upgrade and smart delivery and everything's in Game Pass, et cetera, et cetera. And now here's Sony with a very successful game, basically nickel and diming its customer. You know what? Here's another way you can get this game, and perhaps for a lot cheaper. Wait about another year, and then Ghost of Tsushima will be like half price. You'll find it on all the big sales, and you'll score all of this stuff. For a guy like me who buys everything on disc, I'll just go trade in a bunch of stuff and practically get the game for free. I'll trade in a bunch of those crappy ass games that I haven't played in a while, and I'll go in and trade that in, and there you go, free copy, right? Something like that. So it's a fine line. It's a dangerous precedent. Like I said, overall, I think as Mr. Babbitt said, Mr. Babbitt, like I said, the messaging is really weird because the different types of upgrades, and it's $10 here or $10 there, and it's just the way it comes out. It's almost confusing. Like, so which version do I get, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan. Again, I wouldn't mind it so much if it was probably a little later down the road, but we got so many games that are coming out down the pipeline, and so many things that I personally would rather be spending that extra 10, 20, or $30 towards another game, or perhaps a smaller developer who really could benefit from a few extra sales of their title, as opposed to basically going back and double dipping on a game that, like I said, needs no introduction. Certainly doesn't need a ton more sales. Of course, anything could have more sales. But I hope I'm making the point clear here. It's just, as fans, doesn't matter if it's Sony, Xbox, Nintendo, we have to be careful of the precedents and the fine lines that we're crossing. We're sending the wrong messages all the time now. It's like the free-to-play model kind of stuff, too, that drives me absolutely bonkers. And everybody's doing it because they're milking fans to death, and they don't even realize, oh, you get in cheap on this free-to-play garbage-ass game, but then all of a sudden that's all people are talking about it, and they're charging you $15 for skins. Okay, like let that sink in, right? And people, and there's a portion of the audience that are very, very tech savvy. They're very game savvy. They're into the podcast, and they know when they're kind of getting ripped off. And then we have about 70% of the portion, I call them the Fortnite generation, that has no effing idea that they're getting ripped off, but they love the game so much they just $15. I got a new pink pair of pants. I got that new dildo gun. Then they just go buy whatever, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I love Ghost of Tsushima. I'm a huge fan of the game. I wouldn't mind having a newer version, but honestly, I got so much stuff to play right now. I don't see me just diving right back in to play the extra content. To be quite honest with you, you know what I mean? So
that makes perfect sense. As you want to add something?
Yeah, just a quick question. So that does raise an interesting point, though, in terms of how Sony are monetizing Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know for certain, but as far as I know, there's not microtransactions, are there? Unless they introduced them with the Legends update.
No, just the DLC for the story and the online, the multiplayer. That's it. That's only
just for balance sake, there's something positive to be said in terms of the way that they're handling it, because obviously everybody else puts microtransactions in everything. So.
Well,
I mean, what they're doing is great, but just a little bit of a positive as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that is something that you say about it for sure. The fact that there is no microtransactions in the game, and they're literally just charging for the for the DLC, and obviously, but again, it's the confusion nature of it. Dreadpool, let's go to you, and then I'll bring Big Cloud into the conversation. Yes, sir.
Just my last point. Isn't that funny though, guys? That a few years ago we largely went from complaining about the over excessive use of microtransactions.
Yep.
And basically, what they've done is, we're going to get rid of them, but we are going to double nail you in other ways. It's almost like, they just disguised it better. Like, we're not going to put the egregious ones in there, but we're going to get you.
Instead of nickel and diming you, they're beating you over the head for a $10 upgrade. Basically, is what they're doing. Real quick before I bring in Dreadpool, I got to thank two people. Lazy Couch Gamer drops an outstanding $2 which says, how about those Kojima Xbox news via Jeff Grubb? Yes, and you know what? We're going to be talking about that on Monday evening's Primetime Gaming. That's right, folks. I am not taking a vacation. I will be back with the crew, along with the Wandering Dutch, and I'm going to try and get another guest who's not on vacation or not away, and we'll be going live 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Primetime Gaming this Monday, and of course, that's one of the big topics is the deal nearly finalized with Kojima and Xbox, and exactly what that means for Xbox moving forward, and the Ashen Luca, great friend of this show, great friend of mine, she drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Luca, darling, it's great to see you here. Love what you're doing in the community. She drops a $5 super chat and says, hey, boo, hope you all are having a good day and show. Yes, and we certainly are. And thanks so much for the generosity. But Dreadpool, looking at this from an outside perspective, besides the stupidity of whoever wrote this up on the blog and made it confusing for everyone, do you think that this is going to become an inherent problem moving forward with Sony, specifically with these director cuts? They are obviously looking to get more money out of the people. They're looking to repackage and resell. Now we know how big business works, right? They look to repackage and resell old things to make new money. That's just the way business goes. Do you think this is going to become a problem? I mean, do you think the people are going to actually, lash out and not buy it?
I just think it's already been a problem. We just keep forgetting about when games are cross-gen. People buy the newest game and then realize that the person that they bought it for never actually bought next-gen console. So, you're getting stuck with this, so there's always that mishap between understanding which version you're getting, This one here is just a little bit more confusing because of how it's being done, right? For the upgrade path. Well, where's my upgrade path when I bought Ghosts on PS4 digital, and I go, or I'm sorry, not digital, but physical, and I try to go and an upgrade path that for PS5. Where's that path? I gotta pay the full game, don't I?
No, $10.
$10
it's
for the
$10.
disc,
Yeah.
so I get it
Yeah.
digitally.
Yeah. So
on a PS5 that has no disc.
oh, you mean on a digital? Yeah, I mean,
see,
yeah.
See, there's
I mean,
gonna be that
well,
confusion again. You see,
but
this
real
is
talk,
part of-
that's me right here. Like I bought it physical. I made the switch to digital. I do not expect any company to say, "Oh, we'll take your word for it. You bought it physical, so pay us $10." Like I'm
Right.
paying the $70 for this
Exactly.
thing.
But this
There's
is
no way to prove it. And I get that. I'm not upset
right.
about that.
I'm because we're in the know. You got to remember that we're in the know, and a lot of other people are not. So we have, I'm not saying that everybody else is stupid. I'm just saying
We
there's a
research
lot of
it more.
people that do not understand or do not know what people
Yeah.
have. I had a PS3, and my friend bought me a PS4 controller, custom designed everything with an artist, and put a Deadpool on there, everything. And she's like, "Oh, I thought you had a PS4." No. You know what I'm saying? It's those
Yeah.
little things like that. And I still have it in the box because it was custom designed purposely for me. I'm never going to open that up and ruin that paint job.
Right.
But
Mhm.
at the same fact, this is what happens. There's going to be that confusion. Okay, we're already confused, and we're in the know, and we have to sit down and actually look at it and break down what is actually up with this. What is going on? What is the real deal that we're dealing with, so we know what to expect. And now yet again, imagine other people doing this. So it's definitely puts a bad light on them. It puts a confusing light on everybody. You think you're doing a good deed, and then why would you want to pay for anything like this? Why would you want to do something for the person that you bought it for, or even yourself? You're going to turn around and like, they did this because of this. It was just confusing, and it's really not that confusing when you sit down and look at it. It could have been better. And
No, absolutely.
For the price point, yeah, you would think that you'd be able to get more out of it than paying more.
Yeah.
Boom, how you died right there. I'm sorry. You literally
Dude,
saw me react to it.
I'm sitting here cringing. I'm cringing at the struggle. I'm like, Boom, you're supposed to keep moving.
No.
That's
See,
right.
here's the thing. Here's the problem.
You did
Okay.
the same thing I did. I remembered trying to do this.
I forgot how to. I didn't forget how to play the game. I forgot this
Yeah.
particular part, and what I always do is I always hit the down button, so it gives me the point of where you have to go. You see, once you get to a certain part and it's got that stuff that's on the walls on the floor, it prevents you from running.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? I almost had to go to YouTube to freaking remember. And I said, you know what? Let me just save it. Let me go back. Let me hit the down button. Oh, I have to make a right. And there's a little way, a little for you to hide. Then you do it again. And I'm like, what an idiot. And I'm recording this. I'm like, people are going to laugh at me on my own show.
I love it. I love it.
I'm like, he's going to get it this time. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
dude, it was so annoying. But yeah, no, I agree with you definitely, Dreadpool. But Bitcoin, let's get your opinion on this, and we'll move on to what I think is going to be an exciting show. We just don't know what's going to be there, and that is the rumored July 8th event for Sony. But before we get to that, BitCloud, I mean, look, again, this is two back-to-back blunders.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Like I said, when I first read it, I'm like, they're going to charge me $70 for this goddamn DLC.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? At first I said it with Joe. I'm the asshole here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy it. They've got me. They clobbered me. And then I sat back and I said, man, why do I want to buy another $70 game? And then I read I read through the blog, and I actually read it again. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. $30 gets me everything. Okay, so now that there's nothing to get excited about. $30 gets me everything. I'm good. But I'm a podcaster. Like, I do this for a living, folks, and I couldn't figure it out. What is going on, dude?
So the messaging is, yeah, it was ridiculous. Everybody couldn't figure this out. It's like you really look at it like in fine detail. Um, so I had this conversation with Luca, Slow Mo, and everybody. We was on my channel talking about this, and the thing about this, right? One of the biggest perks they're trying to hype up is 60 FPS and whatnot. It's like you already have that with PS5 if you play if you play it right now. You have this. It's not even nothing new. Then they're like, oh, fix lip sync. And I'm sitting there going, well, we're paying for lip sync and fixes, but didn't Sony just announce an upgrade for Miles Morales for free? The 60 FPS mode in 4K. So stuff like that is weird to me. The messaging is completely off. It's like, okay, you're giving free upgrades in select games, but you're being super selective. You're not being upfront all the way here. Granted, y'all already know we are big Ghost of Tsushima fans. We'll more likely buy into this, right? But at the same time, it's like that just doesn't, that doesn't like exclude anything what they're doing. It's a bad marketing thing. And we've said this before. Like, I don't even know how long we've been saying this. Like, yo, they're gonna find ways to justify you paying $70. We said this so many times. We even got flack for it. You remember that? Like, oh, you guys just hate. There's no way they're gonna charge you $70 for every game, or they're gonna try to do this. It's like, well, guys, there it is in black and blue. It's right there. I'm guaranteeing you right now, Death Stranding is $70. This new one that they're doing, the director's cut, that's no $70.
Yep.
Last of Us 2 Factions. We haven't heard a damn thing on this damn game mode. Guarantee you they're holding out on that, and that's going to be $70 for PS5, more likely. So it's like it's not a good look. It's bad. Microsoft's giving you free upgrades, which is good, but at the same time, it's like, at what point are you going to get, with the times and fix that? And I've said this numerous times, and people got on my face with it. I was like, listen. There are two different perspectives in how Sony's being run now. When Sean Layden ran the company, and I said this on Game On Daily. I don't know if Ace remembers this. When Sean Layden ran the company, he ran it from a gamer's perspective. A lot of stuff was done, strictly gaming. Like, you know what I mean? It had different approaches with gaming. Jim Ryan, it's so hectic. You don't know what he's going to do, so to speak. And at this point in time, he's looking at software growth. He's looking at sales, et cetera, et cetera. So just seeing him trying to get the most out of these games, it's right there in black and blue. It's like, what can you know what I'm saying? What can you do at this point? It's like, bro, it's really weird at this point in time. And again, me, Joe, you, we're part of the problem. We'll buy this. we'll buy this stuff. But this is not the end. Let's just face it, it's not the end. There's going to be more games they're going to try and get away with this with, and it's not even a surprise at this point.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But let's get into what's going to be potentially happening at July 8th. Now, this folks, this is rumor, right? The Sony proper has not come out and officially said we're having our E3-esque show. Of course, like Sony, they're not being as transparent, and for people like myself who love covering these shows, who enjoy buying Sony's first party, it's been frustrating on how coy they have been. But as we sit here and we openly discuss this, now it's July 2nd, right? So supposedly, it's July 8th. This is right before the holiday weekend. Now, this story comes to us. Where did I pull the story from? I think Game Rant I pulled this from. And again, they weren't the first to report it, but they're one of the sites that I like to use for these shows. And we would expect that at this show, Sony's going to show some pretty big games. I would imagine they're going to show this. They're definitely going to show an update on Horizon Forbidden West. I would hope that we get a release date for 2021. I think we've been hearing that we could get some gameplay from God of War, which would be freaking dope. Maybe we'll get what's the name of that driving game?
Gran Turismo.
Thank you. Like maybe we'll get Gran Turismo, an update on that. I mean, Polyphony, they're just notorious for their delays, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what else they could show. Joe, we'll keep this quick because we do have to get the Dead Space revival to get into. What are you expecting? And do you think it's July 8th?
You're muted, bro.
No, I don't think it's July 8th. I think we relied way too heavily on Reddit to give us our sources. here
No,
and hype us
absolutely.
up.
Yeah.
And
How you gonna
so
be
no,
the
I,
buzzkill? It has to be July 8th. We need greatness.
sorry.
Stop it.
you're right. No, I do think they missed their window this week, and I think
agree,
a lot of us expected it to be this week. Because again,
before the holiday would have been pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but like again, and that's the thing, is like you can't, everybody's off right now on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So you not maybe you do it July 5th or 6th, you announce it, and then it's the 8th. That's the only way I could see that happening. But honestly, yeah, you're overshadowed by the 4th of July weekend. So like I even think maybe next week you don't even get an announcement. I'm thinking this is maybe mid-July or August at this point. And I know that's not what people want to. Yeah, I know that's what people probably don't want to hear.
They can't get. I mean, they don't want to get in front of right behind EA's event is the 22nd, right?
Yeah.
So they don't.
Yeah, and you gotta be respectful to that partner as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't think. I honestly think if Sony thinks they could sit out this summer, I think they're foolish. I definitely think they're foolish.
Dude, if it's not in July, it has to be August.
Yeah. I get it that they want to go on their own terms, but at the same exact time, dude, like Xbox had a killer show and you're just going to let them have the whole conversation? Nah, it's so foolish, but at this point, who knows, right? So what they need to do, here's the thing. They got the games.
They do. Sure they do.
Yeah, they're going to show you all the games that you're going to get excited for that got you excited last generation.
Yep.
That's cool. Those are the things that are expected. The things that they need to show, the thing that they need to answer for is the overhaul to PS Now. That's the thing. Xbox and PlayStation are in... Point. Yeah, PlayStation and Xbox are in two... Like, it's kind of like a reflection almost of situations where PlayStation has the games. You're going to buy the system. You're going to buy those games. It's proven. It's selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
That's you're there. But what they don't have is the future-proofed service, right? Because it's consoles for now, but how long will that actually be that way? 5-10 years from now.
I talked to Chris Grinnell about that too, and he agreed. Like the answer might have always been in front of us this whole time, and that was PlayStation Now revamped.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what they're definitely going to do.
Right there.
And so, they got that service. Now they need to either rebrand it, or tweak it to make it not an equal, but an equivalent.
Right.
That's the thing that they definitely need to do. That is the thing that they need to show. Yeah. They need to show me why I should care. And they need to show indies why they should care. More importantly, with that service. Because I think that could be their big driver if they're smart about it. So to me, I think we're going to see the games. That's great. But we need to see the service to get us excited about the distant future that is PlayStation. And what that looks like looks very similar to what PS Now is, but tweaked in certain aspects that's going to get you excited. Like a lot of the multiplayer stuff, I think, is going to be in this service. You're seeing it from Guerrilla to Insomniac. Yeah. You're seeing their studios start to create multiplayer games.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hiring, hiring posts with the multiplayer specifically mentioned in those posts. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So People has one now. All of a sudden,
and remember, PlayStation isn't. Look, if we're talking about it, PlayStation knows it, and they've been knowing it for months, right, or even years. They're not done. They're talking.
They're the market leader still.
Yeah,
that's it.
So yeah, that's what I really need to see from them, man. Show me the service that's gonna get my eyes going. Okay, I'm comfortable, because the thing is, Jim Ryan could be an awesome leader. Who knows still, right? But what we haven't gotten is Sony talking to us, because I really do think, the Sony that the 2016 Sony
is gone,
that showed us all those games. Not just that, it's their competitor is gone. Like the old Xbox, the old Microsoft.
Yep.
They're gone. You're facing someone who actually wants it this time.
Yeah.
Like
Great point, Joe.
that are they've never been this aggressive since the 360 era. So you gotta really these things, these mistakes are really seems like could be a death by 1,000 cuts, or them really getting into this growing pain. But that's my thought, man. It's not happening this week. We're not going to get an announcement. It needs to come. I don't know at this point if it is.
Okay,
that's concerning.
That's a great point. Asa, let's get you in on the court. Before I get to you, Asa, got a compliment here. Proof Double J drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, "Boom, you're a miracle worker. Asa has spoken more today than on the last 3 Game On Daily podcasts combined. I love it. Asa, we got to get you to talk more. You got a lot to say, and we love hearing what you got to say." Raiden Blade drops a $5 super chat. Says, "Hey, Boom and panel. So sheep mentality not extinct, then gamers need to open their eyes and take note. These companies need us more. Respect our money." Indeed, that's a great point. Raiden Blade, that's another super chat of $2. "I hope that the DLC is worth it. 10 hours plus play." Listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I think it's gonna be great. If it's anything like Lost Legacy, sign me up. I'm right here. I'm gonna, because I love Ghost of Tsushima. I love Jin. I love everything about the story. We're using the same character. We're just going to a different island. Let me do all the same. I'll chase all the foxes. I'll hide in the bushes and stab people. I'll kick people down the hills. Whatever. I'm gonna get the platinum. That's the end of that story.
They'll probably tease a little bit more going into the sequel with the
maybe.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, and maybe we'll even get introduced to a new character that could potentially be a part of that sequel. It'd be interesting. Raiden Blade shows his generosity once again with another $2 super chat and says, "Looking like King David was right all along." Yeah, King is a prophet. He's a prophet. He drops another one. Wow, dude, the generosity is incredible of $2. He says, "Is there a MasterCard, Visa, Amex attached to the PlayStation 5? I mean, listen, you either buy it or you don't. I just think that they are looking to become the next Nintendo. I think Asa was right with that. But Asa, what do you expect Sony to show, and how long can they wait?
Well, I'm going to disagree with every word that Joe said. But
how dare you?
I need to try to remember what they all were. So we'll start from the beginning in the most respectful way, of course. July 8th. Yeah, July 8th awaits. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not going to be on the 8th necessarily. They always get these things a few days wrong with Sony. I don't know why that is, but I think ballpark, it will be pretty soon. It'll be before EA's one. I
hope you're right.
I don't know.
I don't know what to believe anymore, man. I want to be wrong here. Don't get me wrong. I want to be wrong.
Oh, we're just getting started. We're just getting started.
Well, what do you expect? What do you expect them to bring to the table? Because obviously,
So games, they don't need to show Horizon because they've shown plenty of Horizon. God of War, everybody wants to see some of that. So I hope we'll get as much of that as we can. I think we'll see Grand Theft Auto 5 and whatever special Sony exclusive they've got for the PlayStation 5 version. That's just a massive name, and we know that they've got their marketing deal with Rockstar. So that's going to be reserved for a Sony reveal at some point. I think the same for Call of Duty. We'll probably see that. This year's release of Call of Duty will probably be there. And Sony haven't actually promised that much of their distant future yet. So much as I'm not a big fan of CGI trailers, they're probably going to start wanting to talk about what's coming later. There's also strong rumors that PSVR 2 will be a tail end of this year release. So we could be seeing some of that.
2022 supposedly.
Yeah, and that's cool. I'm a massive VR fan, so I hope that we see that. I think that's going to be a fantastic device when it comes out. I hope there's a wireless add-on for it, which I think there will be, but we'll see nearer the time on that one. The bit I disagree with is the PlayStation Now revamp. It's needed and it will come, but I don't think the time is right. I think it's too early.
No. We're not talking about overnight. It's something that they're going to build upon or fix over time. It would be. Yeah,
and I think so. Jim Ryan's job is to see the direction that the industry is going, and I think it's fairly clear. The trajectory is clear, and we know where Xbox are taking it, and we know where other players are, so Amazon and Google as well. But these services are anemic right now, and Sony's focus at the moment has very clearly been PlayStation Plus, and it makes a lot of sense for them right now. If you look at just numbers-wise, Game Pass is phenomenal, and it's got about, I don't know, 23, 25 million subscribers, whatever that number is now. That's small compared to PlayStation Plus, and it's the same kind of audience. It's still very much contained within the console space at the moment. Anecdotally, there'll be people that are like, oh, I subscribe to Game Pass and I only use it on my phone, or I'm using it on the PC. But the vast majority are console players. And Microsoft's ambition is going to be to blow that up well beyond console players. But it's probably years away. And Sony need to be aware of it, and they need to have their answer to it when the industry goes in that direction. But you look at things like Luna. Luna's not even outside of America yet.
Right.
So
when I say an equivalent, I'm not saying we're getting the streaming thing. Yeah, we're not getting like so here's your game's day and date. I'm thinking we're going to get. I think it's something more PlayStation Plus than Game Pass, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense, yeah. Like a buffed up version of it. We've been talking about Plus and Now combined for years. It makes sense for that, yeah.
But a separate revenue stream because they want to maximize that profit. That's what I'm thinking, Asa. Maybe you could call me a dumb idiot. I believe you there too.
I'm definitely not insulting you in the slightest. I just think if they talk too much,
no, that's just us disagreeing in New Jersey. We call each other idiots. It's fine. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just being a dummy. I'm just being an idiot. You're like, yeah, it's fine.
I'm British and I don't want to hurt you.
Lord. There we go.
But if they talk too much, I think the plan for PlayStation now needs to be more along the lines of Luna Stadia Game Pass. Like it needs to expand in that way, whether they rebrand it, whatever it will be. But if they start talking about that side of it now, it's too soon, and it'll probably scare their console fan base.
Yeah.
So I think that's a few years down the line. They need to be doing that work in the background, but I don't think they need to talk about it yet.
Okay.
But we'll see.
No, that's a fair point.
It's going to be very interesting. Noof, what are you expecting at this show? What do you think they need to show?
Well, I have to agree with the guys. I don't think they're going to show a lot of Horizon at this point. What do they need to show? Well, I think with Kenna coming up here real soon, that game will probably start to get a little bit more hype and highlights. It looks like a phenomenal new IP and another little showcase title. Now, one thing that definitely annoyed me is I heard that the developer's not having a physical copy of this game. Apparently it's going to be digital only, so that's kind of disturbing for me. Hopefully people can change their minds. So I definitely think we'll see more of Kenna. I don't think we'll see anything of Gran Turismo for a little while longer. Fans would love to see God of War to kind of keep that hype train going. Like that's one thing, God of War, they've laid the foundation now. They know they got a successful game on their hands. So that could be part of it. I don't know. I don't think we'll see anything for Insomniac for a little while longer, unless they got some kind of announcement of a new IP that they're working on. But I don't think Sony wants to show stuff that's too far out. Wouldn't be entirely surprised if there wasn't some sort of Spider-Man or something or another, some type of announcement, because that's going to be a big IP and a big sort of selling point for them moving forward for a very long time. But it's hard to say. I think definitely Kenna, and they're going to focus largely on what's coming in the pipeline for this year. And I'm not sure what else they're working on there at the moment, but and it is possible we could see a little bit more of Horizon Forbidden West. So they'll definitely.
I definitely think. 2 or 3. Do you think it's 21 or 22 Horizon?
To be honest with you, I would. I get a funny feeling it slips to early 2022.
Me too.
I get the feeling it goes next year, and then it'll almost be like the anniversary point. Because what the other one came out in 2017, and if I'm correct, it was the end of February, or was it early March?
March 28th.
End of February.
Yeah, February 28th. I think it was the last day of the month.
I get the funny feeling, it'll probably slip to next year. I think Sony is going to do well with or without the game in this holiday season, regardless. Even if the third-party guys kind of got to carry the torch, because COD is going to be huge for them come November. It always is, and the fact that they sort of have that marketing ploy with Call of Duty is only working in their favor when you're on the sort of the world's most notorious platform, that sort of thing. So. It's hard to say. I don't know. I can tell you one game I'd love to see given back from Sony, but I don't think they ever will, and that would be another tourist trophy game with the bikes, or at least add them to Gran Turismo would be really cool. A bike option, since I'm a big bike connoisseur and aficionado. So, but I don't really know. Boom. Honestly, I think Kenna will take front row stage on this one because it's supposed to drop in August.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
they don't
August
start
24th.
if they don't start promoting that game soon, it might not be a good look. You know, they'll want this game to come out and be potentially another hugely successful IP. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a multiplayer. Am I correct, or did I get that wrong?
Yes, it's a so
Yes.
PlayStation has the marketing rights to Kena.
Yeah.
They're not publishing it. That's why you're not seeing a physical edition to it.
Right.
So yeah, they've got a year-ish exclusivity on Kena, then it'll be on other platforms.
Right.
Very
But
interested about that studio.
But
though.
you have to be, you know, obviously this still could be a huge boon for them, right? With that window of opportunity and another game that sort of identifies with PlayStation, regardless if it does come out on another platform. You know, we all have that thing wherever they drop first, it's sort of the platform that you notoriously identify with that IP. So, you know, platformers are big. Obviously, Ratchet and Clank just came out, so you know we won't see anything more. But there potentially could be some sort of DLC for that too in the future, with the massive success that this game is having right now. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Kena. It resonated with me immediately. Gave me those Cameo vibes. Cameo, if you remember, that was the launch Xbox 360 game. I'm very excited for that. I cannot wait. I have a ton of super chats to get to, but I don't want to hold up the show too much. So Dreadpool, let's get your opinion. What are you expecting from the Sony show?
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Yeah. I was saying nothing. I expect nothing, but apparently I was saying nothing also. No, I expect nothing. I want to see what they come out with. I mean, yeah, I would like to see Kena. I would like to see some God of War. We've seen a little too much Aloy, so we can move on from there. I just you know how I do this. I go in, I expect nothing, and then I can rate it from there to see what I walk away with, you know. So I think they're going to come out, and the only reason why they didn't come out earlier was because of the Game Pass meme. So I think you know, coming out on the 8th makes sense because it's long enough since the meme, and they have the upper hand now. There's nothing going on that anybody's talking about, and it'll be about Sony now. So really, that's it.
Yeah.
Not much.
Okay, I mean, listen. Again, you want to be surprised.
I'll say this though, Dread, because like everybody's like, you know, what is it? Horizon is 2022. I'm kind of thinking with seeing how Ghost is late August, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we see Horizon in 2021, because I don't think Sony wants to be overshadowed again by Breath of the Wild. And if the God of War sequel is actually 2022 and that doesn't get pushed back again, I think they want that one to shine when it comes to the Game of the Year talk. So I think this year would be great for Horizon to be that Game of the Year talk as well, since it's not as competitive as like last year. What will be 2022 when you look at like, holy crap, you got like God of War going up against, you know, the next Zelda game.
And the question is the game ready?
That's the impression I got.
You know what I'm saying?
It,
if it's not 100% ready, they're not going to release it. They don't want to have
No,
any
Sony doesn't rush their releases. That's correct.
Yep.
the way
Unless
If it's
you're
ready, I could see it
Hammond
for a
House.
holiday. If it's not, I could see no problem being pushed back.
Oh yeah.
And nobody would have a problem.
So
with that.
again, that's the one thing that's good about Sony. They are willing to wait for greatness. Or, you know, no pun intended. They don't mind waiting. But Big Cloud, before we get into the Dead Space revival talk, what are you expecting Sony to bring to the table whenever they have their event?
I mean, considering they've been quiet and all the confusion, I would expect them to bring something good. If they do this show, I would expect release dates for Horizon. If it's dropping this year or next year, God of War, maybe a trailer for God of War, at least at the minimum, because we knew that was never going to come out this year. A lot of people were getting their hopes up for nothing for that game. It was never going to drop. And maybe maybe announce. You know what? Actually, I don't think they'll do that because they just approached these studios. But who knows? They might hint at some other stuff.
Maybe they have something in the works. These studios are never, you know, they're always moving on to the next game.
Yeah.
So we could get a snippet of what one of these studios is making. That would actually be kind of cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get some PC announcements on older titles
Yeah,
that were
at this, well, I mean, cut you up because at this rate, the Game Awards is looking to have more worthwhile announcements. Because remember,
I've been hearing this. I've been hearing that as well. Folks, the Game Awards is supposed to be, from what I hear,
pretty big,
big, pretty special this year. I don't know what is going to be there.
Kojima's involvement, all that.
It's going to be very interesting. But listen, folks, if you've been waiting for us to talk about Dead Space, well, we're going to talk about Dead Space for the remainder of the show. Now, I have a ton of super chats and even some new channel members. I will get to you guys at the end. Thank you so much for the ridiculous generosity that continues to come in. I'm unbelievably moved by how amazing this the generosity is. But I do want to get to this particular topic, and then of course, I will read every super chat. Dead Space is a name that to this day still sends shivers down gamers' spines. And it has become a hot topic since the debut of its spiritual successor called the Callisto Protocol. Now, that is coming out by the original team at Visceral, who does not exist anymore because they were closed by EA. And that is, again, it looks like it's going to be an amazing game. All we got was, a CG trailer. But you know what? It really does give you the Dead Space vibes. But not to be outdone, EA, who still owns the rights to Dead Space, has been talking about an IP revival that the fans have been asking for. That's their exact words, though they never really said Dead Space, but we all suspected it was. Well, thanks to an article that I pulled from VGC, of course, the Video Game Chronicles, friend of Double Barrel Gaming, Jeff Grubb, had some very interesting things to say, and now it has been claimed by Jeff last weekend that EA is set to announce a new project during its EA Play live event on July 22nd, where this channel is going to be covering that live, folks. So get ready. That's going to be a 40-minute event. We're going to have a pre-show. We're going to be covering it live, and then we're going to have an after show talking about what they showed. But according to Jeff, the revival is in fact going to be Dead Space, and it's going to be made by EA's Motive Studio. Now, this story was picked up by VGC and other outlets, but now Gamasutra has corroborated the report, claimed that the established IP is in fact Dead Space. Now, Dead Space first released in 2008 and has not seen a new installment since 2013's Dead Space 3, which a lot of people disliked. I happen to really enjoy it because it was very action focused. But the series developer Visceral Games, like I said, was closed by EA in 2017. But according to Gamasutra, the new Dead Space game will be a reimagining of the series rather than a sequel to the existing trilogy of games. Now, this is where it gets really good. And I'm going to go immediately to BitCloud, because according to GamesBeat, which of course houses our good friend Jeff Grubb, they said that the next game is going to be like Resident Evil 2 Remake, except the Dead Space is to use the original game as a strong foundation. And that is very exciting, because Resident Evil 2 Remake is the definitive Resident Evil game, in my opinion, of all time. Like, I even moved it past 98, which is my favorite game of all time. But it's going to, of course, include modern visuals, and it will likely bring new gameplay mechanics inspired by other entries in the franchise. And speaking of Capcom, it's likely that a major reason that the new Dead Space is happening is because of how well Resident Evil 2 Remake did for Capcom. So I'm going to go to BitCloud. BitCloud, this is very exciting. You like horror games just like me. We're both Resident Evil nuts. Listen, we have all been asking for a Dead Space, and I gotta tell you, I played this game for 4 hours yesterday. I have multiple footages recovered. The game still holds up. It's from 2008. Visceral did an amazing game, and it's scary as hell. I cannot wait to see what Motive can do. How excited are you for this?
I mean, dude, come on. This is me you're talking to. I'm excited. I love, listen, this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I went platinum the entire series. Loved them. The only thing that I would probably be a little alarmed with this, because he said they're taking inspiration from all three, basically, right?
Yep.
And the third one had the worst system in terms of
microtransactions, robbery.
That was the only thing I would have to say I don't want, and I'm a little mindful of going into this. Other than that,
it is EA.
If it's exactly like Resident Evil 2 remake, where it's a love letter and they just go and refine everything, make it the way it should be, which is survival horror, like this is what I want. Because Resident Evil Village, I love Village. I platinum Village just recently. Village toned down the horror.
It did.
And I don't want games like, I don't want horror games to ever feel
I didn't like it as much as 7, I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't like when horror games have to tone down what the foundation is just to appease to everybody. No, that's what made Dead Space so special. Dead Space was all about scaring the hell out of you. Like, even the marketing was so good for the game. And I really want this to be true. I really want them to go all out if they are definitely doing this. I'm happy if it happens. Really, really am. Improved sound, improved lighting, better visuals, better mechanics, you name it.
Yeah. I maybe Boom lost connection.
No. I literally just stepped away for a hot second. I had to stretch my back. I was just sitting in this chair is sometimes too much. But
I got you.
I mean, listen, I agree with you.
Ergo chair too. That will solve all your problems. Ergo chair.
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something. There is room for concern. Again, it's EA, right? Whenever you say EA, like. But they did. You know what? You know what else I think really helped them make this move in regards to single player? Because I don't think there's going to be any multiplayer. Is how well Star Wars did for them. Like that has sold gangbusters for them.
But I think that was made by a legit Star Wars fan who literally wanted to make a love letter. You know what I mean? It all comes back to the developer. If the developer is willing to put in that type of detail and that type of love, then absolutely, it will resonate with fans. But EA is still, it's EA. EA always has those like those scrummy tactics that they want to throw into games, and they tried that with Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3, ultimately, it killed the franchise.
It did.
It literally killed the
franchise.
Forced co-op, terrible, just terrible way of going about it, especially with the way the weapons worked. It was terrible. But now that we're in this new age with these new consoles now, and we have better audio and same visuals, right? We're able to do so much more with SSDs. It's like there's so much they can do with this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Joe, let's bring you into the conversation.
Sure.
Dead Space getting a revival. This should be a celebration, but again, of course, with the confetti comes someone throws a rock because it's EA, so you may get cracked in the head. I mean, what are you expecting from this? Is it going to be the love letter that we all hope and pray it is, like we saw with Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 remake?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what I think. First off, I love everybody. I gotta go after I say my piece here, because so someone came here and they were very early, too early. You're supposed to be fashionably late. Some people are very weird. So I'm a huge Dead Space fan. This screams awesome to me. Like, even I know EA's the devil, we get it, but EA has looked at the success of the remakes out of Capcom.
Yes.
And they see that live services aren't doing it for them right now. When companies are finding themselves are usually when they're at their best. So I take a look at this as a huge win because, look at the Mass Effect trilogy, right? Pretty much untouched other than, reworking some of the combat in 1, making sure that the graphics popped a little better.
Yeah.
Games are fantastic, critically very well received ports or remasters. Of course, that's internal within Edmonton, but that's neither here nor there. By the way, why did I say city there to end? But that's neither here nor there. It shows that EA knows their reputation as well. So they can't just go, all right, here's a whole lot of microtransactions in this. No, the reason why Dead Space bombed was they wanted Dead Space to be the next Resident Evil. Like, they bought into this whole thing of like, they had actually too much faith in this IP, where they were just like, this is going to be huge. We're going to make comics. We're going to make books. We're going to make movies. This is going to be a show, 6 seasons and a movie. Yeah. Like
crappy VR or not VR, but crappy, move games. That's what it was. That move.
Yeah. So, they really bought into a lot of what this game is. So, or they had a little bit too much faith in it. There's a little echo on someone's end. Fix it. Only kidding. Take your time. But yeah. So for me, I'm really excited. I have a whole lot of faith that this is going to be, this is going to be solid. I think a lot of worries are just that, worries. I think, when it comes to the game itself, they understand what they got to do. Motive is a very creative studio, and they are kind of going back to single player games, thank God, with, with Star Wars being a really great tell. So I'm all in on this. Give me this game. And if it means that we get like the Callisto Protocol by the actual founders of Visceral, and at the same exact time we get a actual Dead Space game, dude, more horror the better.
Let me throw this at you as well, because remember, so Callisto Protocol, spiritual successor, right? Now we're getting this. What else did we hear a spiritual successor for? Boom. Dino Crisis, Extinction.
Oh my God!
Remember Extinction? Extinction is a spiritual successor. So I mean, it's possible. Dino Crisis could be next if this.
I hope that that someone from Capcom is listening, because my God, what else do you need to bring back Onimusha? And I mean, samurais are cool now, right? Thanks to Jin, right? Samurais are cool, so let's bring Onimusha back. But dinosaurs are cool too. And you know what? Everyone likes to get eaten by a dinosaur. Bring freaking Dino Crisis back already. But Joe, listen, have a great weekend, brother.
I can see someone getting eaten by a T-Rex, and it's like, this is awesome. This is what I've always wanted. Yeah, everybody, love y'all. You know where to find me, all that stuff. Oh, before I go, I need to plug the show one way.
Yes.
If you're following me at PS Trophy Room or Mr. Babbitt, and if you're not, what are you doing with your life?
Exactly. What are you
doing?
But
we're in the People's Choice Awards for podcasts. I forget the title, but the fact is you need to register and nominate us over at the games/hobbies category. We got some stiff competition, and we're gonna win. I never cared about this until I found out we could win an actual trophy. So now I'm in it. Now I feel obligated. So go out there, vote for us, please, for the love of God. All right. I love you all, brother.
Take care, brother. Hey, so let's bring you into the conversation. Dead Space, man. This is one everyone's been asking for. I'm actually happy that it is a spiritual reboot, if you will. I thought what we were going to get, and I actually would have been happy with it if we would have got the Mass Effect treatment for the trilogy. Because the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is phenomenal. I'm 41 hours into ME1. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm just playing too many games. It's like the Cardinals sin in gaming. But I was expecting that's what they would do. I mean, it's EA, right? They want to make money. But the fact that they're going to let Motive make this, I'm very excited. Now, what about you, man? What are your feelings on a new Dead Space?
It's for me, it's not just Dead Space. It's the horror genre in general. It's going through a nice resurgence over the last few years.
Yes.
And it might be quite narrow in my vision on this one, rather than stepping back and taking a look at like the direction things are going. I look at my own way of playing games at the moment, and the thing that's made horror explode for me is actually streaming. And I mean not Game Pass cloud streaming or anything like that.
We're talking about
Twitch
actual
streaming.
like Twitch streaming.
Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
Horror is massive for audience kind of gaming. So a long time ago, when Dead Space 3 came out, Dead Space 3, EA didn't make it a co-op game with microtransactions because they hated Dead Space. They did that because budgets and audiences and revenue weren't lining up, and they needed to make a change.
Yeah.
And then when that didn't work out, they killed it. And they're not the only ones. Most horror games disappeared. And Resident Evil was the mainstay that kept going year after year, and it had its wobbles as they tried to refine it and change it and get a bigger audience, but it kept on going. And then over recent years, and with the Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake and so on, it's just audience has got massive. And the confusing thing is that a Twitch audience doesn't equate to money for the publisher in itself, but it sure as hell cuts the marketing budget down to nothing.
Yes, great point.
At that point in time when these games stopped, marketing budget was almost half the budget of making a game. So to slice that down to, you just need a few influencers to play this game on Twitch or put it on YouTube, and it will spread like wildfire. And that happens for horror games because they are so fun to watch, particularly being horror games. Some people don't have any appetite to be scared playing games. It's just not what everybody wants.
Right.
But to watch other people be scared, it's a massive audience. And I didn't actually play the first Dead Space, and I'm sure going to play the remake. I play horror games every Friday on my Twitch channel. I'm going through The Evil Within 2 at the moment, which is another one that I skipped.
Dude,
at the time,
that is such an
Yes.
underappreciated title. Evil. Listen, folks, I wasn't a big fan of Evil Within 1. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't beat it, but I got to tell you, I think I got almost every achievement. That game is one of the most underappreciated titles. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to make a 3 or they're going to let him, and if the creator Shinji is made Resident Evil 4, and now, he's part of Xbox now, then Tango Games work, Tango Studio. So I'd love to see if they're going to continue the series or let him do something else. But yeah, dude, that is a fantastic title that you're playing.
it is, and I'm enjoying it. I really like the Friday horror games, so I'm playing through the main ones that I've been playing through are the Resident Evil series and the Evil Within series, and
Nice.
it's good entertainment. And so Dead Space and the Callisto Protocol and anything else that follows off that ilk is just it's great to see a resurgence.
Silent Hill is well, two
Silent Hill's
Silent
an obvious
Hills.
one, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, two Silent Hills. We know that a Japan studio is doing one, and we know that Bloober Team has teamed up with Konami, and it's going to be 2. I mean, we haven't had a Silent Hill in years. We're going to get 2, folks, on top of a new Dead Space, and of course the Callisto Protocol. Great time for horror, Asa. I mean, absolutely.
It is, and it's funny because I've already said I hate stealth games in general, and stealth is it's like intrinsic to horror. You've got to be sneaky because you're going to die otherwise. But I get through it for a horror game. They're good fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely, great stuff. Dreadpool, let's get your we'll get Dreadpool's opinion on this, and then bring new film in on, and we'll get Arnie to make an appearance. Hopefully, Dreadpool, are you excited for a new Dead Space?
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay,
we've talked about Callisto Protocol, being the spiritual successor, and with this this new remaster, whatever you want to call it, reboots, like Mass Effect, I would say it's a good thing. We're bringing horror back. We're bringing this. I don't consider this game horror, but to me, it's a step in the right direction because it'll get me back to where I want to be, because I'm greedy like that. I want fear to come back. So these games are that step in that right direction, right?
Yeah.
When a little girl can mind F you like that the way she did, yeah, that's more of a horror game to me. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's good to see this because it opens up the doors now for other creators to do something more. You know what I mean? There's so much in the genre when it comes to horror. You look at all these horror movies, and right now, when it comes to horror movies, they hit a stalemate. They're just hitting a brick wall, and they're not good like they used to be. Back then, they had to come up with some creative stuff, and I think with this, they're going to have to be more creative in bringing that fear factor back in, and no pun intended with fear, but just in with a lot of these games. Resident Evil 7 did it. So how many people lifted their leg with the head rolling? When they did it in VR. So stuff like that is awesome. It brings us back to some more, and unfortunately, it may be a flooded market by the time all these games start coming out, which I'm fine with. I got no problems, but that's kind of what happened back then. A lot of people were trying to do the same thing, and it just wasn't hitting right. They weren't doing it right. And you look at further back when the original Evil, what am I thinking? Resident Evil. There you go. Resident Evil and Silent Hill with the way the camera control and the movement, right? Today's players will not stand for that. I don't even have the patience to go back to that style of gameplay anymore, So with that and the technology we have now, yeah, we're going to be getting so many better games, designed, created, visuals, all this. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Like I said, fear is going to be the reason why I'm greedy like this, but I do want to see it succeed because it has to.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, it's Dead Space, and again, if the original gets the love and care that Resident Evil 2 remake, which was directly quoted as to what they wanted to do with this, that is a great blueprint, in my opinion. And Motive is no slouch. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. Noof Nukem, let's bring you in on the conversation there, brother. Dead Space coming back in a big way, on top of a spiritual successor in the Callisto Protocol. What are your thoughts on this? Are you excited?
Well, the first thing I wanted to come out here and
It's
say,
Arnie.
I wanted to
Welcome.
jump here and I got to see this. Look, I heard Noof Nukem's wife over discussing this, and she said the biggest dead space is actually between Noof Nukem's head. Okay, so that's what is scary out there. So, but this is going to be a fantastic game. I love to be scared. I love to play the game in my living room with my pants off, and this game will definitely make your underwear cringe. So that's the kind of stuff that we want to play more of. I should be in it. Maybe this should make me start.
I was going to ask you that, Arnie. Did they give you the call to ask you to maybe, mocap you to be the main character?
I should be in there. I should be going to these ships, fighting these necromorphs, ripping their arms off and beating them to death with it. So that's what they want to put me in there.
We appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you so much. Your 50 cents, it's in the mail. Don't worry. The check's good. But no, honestly, I mean, just first of all, listen, folks, if you haven't played this, pop this into your Series X. This game still looks freaking amazing, and it controls like next gen. It really is an incredible piece of artwork. I mean, you know, people don't like 3 as much. 1 and 2, phenomenal. But if you missed out on 1, man, get out there. And I mean, it's an EA. If you have Game Pass, you can play for free. Yeah. But by means, continue, Noof.
No problem. Well, I think it's a great thing to come back. We've heard the fans, I don't know, outside of Splinter Cell, which I have a feeling we're going to see another Dead Space long before we see Splinter Cell. But these are 2 of the games I've heard the community perhaps cry about the most over the last, 3 or 4 years, is bring this back. Obviously, the first game came out to a huge success. And like you said, it kind of got a little bit, we kind of got spaced out after a while was what happened. It's like they started to come, Dead Space 2 followed quickly thereafter, and it was number 3. Some people felt the co-op part of number 3 sort of ruined the game in a sense, but for other people it was actually a huge boost. Like for me, I really love Dead Space 3, perhaps because of having the co-op partner. That sense of horror and isolation was not done as well, but it also made the series a little more accessible and forgiving, and obviously a better entry point for some people that struggle with the survival horror. And I guess, like I said, this is a sci-fi survival horror. I liken this as if you merged, Resident Evil with Alien and a few other fantastic films of that genre, that ilk. This is kind of what you got, and the best survival horror games, or horror games in general, are often the ones, much like a good movie, it's the ones that don't give you too much. It's the stuff you don't see that often scares you more than the stuff that you do. Like games that's what we've seen over the years, is that some of these games that notoriously were scarier at the start started becoming watered down. They try to make it more action oriented because, again, to appeal perhaps to more people, or to take a bit of a risk with the franchise. And that's the thing. So let's hope that this game can come out and look well and sell well and reach a new audience and get a resurgence. As you said, it's largely because Resident Evil continues not to go away that the whole genre doesn't go away. People want to take a dabble at it. But the other thing that the publishers have to realize is that these games still have, a certain market. They do not appeal to everybody. They're a little harder. It's harder to get an audience in because there's still a lot of people that just don't like the horror genre in video gaming. We see this all the time. I don't play them. I don't stream them. They're terrifying for me. Heck, they're even worse if you play them in VR. So like they have to take that into account, that these games are never going to reach those massive heights that, say, Grand Theft Autos and Call of Duties and all these other games reach, but they can still find an audience. They're still a necessary genre. They can still do very, very well. If you want to add some multiplayer to it in some sense of fashion, I'm all for it. You just got to make a great game. And again, then you don't want to oversaturate the market. There is only so much room at a certain given period of time where you don't want 7 of these games coming out that are very similar to each other. So you got to really find the proper window, but you got to strike while the iron is hot. But at the same time, you don't want to keep adding gas to the fire till it becomes uncontrollable. We see this all the time in this industry where somebody strikes it hot, they get a success, and then they copy and copy and copy, and everybody's doing this damn thing. And then you kind of get tired of it. Whether it's the game that you love or not, we started getting burnout. You know, like we see this when Minecraft came out and became a huge success, all the copycats. You see this with the Battle Royale, everybody copycats. Like this is the thing. And this genre wants to avoid that at all costs as well. Dead Space I feel there's a lot of originality. Again, it comes down to enemy design and boss layout and stuff like that. And the one thing that's always turned me off more, so I love the horror aspect of it, but what kind of drives me is everything's always that limited ammo, craft, create, stuff like this. Like I want to play a game where I'm worried less about the amount of ammo that's in my gun or whatever than what's coming at me. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Like personally, like when I'm playing Resident Evil 8, going back on the replay through, I'm enjoying the fact now that I have stuff unlocked and I can kind of go through those sections earlier in the game now with more ammo or better weapons right off the hop and stuff like that. Then the game just becomes a little more enjoyable, just kind of whatever, you know. But I totally get it. You know, that's part of the boom with some of these games as well, is by having limited ammo, limited resources. You know, it really puts you in that space, you know, that confined area. You know, let's hope that Motive can do a great job here and bring this franchise back in a big way. It's obviously like a retesting of the market. We know that the loyal fans will jump all over it. The key now is to see how many new people they can get onto this, and this is where Game Pass could possibly be another huge boom down the road here, if and when the game should go into Game Pass. Maybe get more people to try genres like this and take a chance at the franchise. And you know, I believe that some of these games do need to come back, because there's a whole genre, a whole almost generation or decade of gamers who are just coming into the new era of consoles, and they never played the original Dead Space. They probably don't even know what it's about, really, to be honest with you. So you're going to get a lot of new players in, and just a really well done game would be a huge boost. Like I said, strike now while the iron is hot, because Resident Evil sort of made a resurgence again. It's coming back in a big way. The remakes were done phenomenally well, especially number 2. I see they're doing a remake now of number 4. They're even going to make it for the Oculus Quest 2, the VR of Resident Evil 4, which I can't wait to actually buy that. It's going to be in first person with, you know, VR amplified controls, so that's going to be really cool. So yeah, I think this is awesome, man, and let's hope that EA knocks it out of the ballpark with this one. Love, like I said, the Evil Within 2. That's cool now that Microsoft and Bethesda have that, and hopefully they don't let that franchise die off. Would love to see a third in that series as well. So, but yeah, I'm excited about it, even though I got to say, like, I'm not one who's I'm going to fraud out right now. I've never finished either Dead Space. I dabbled with the first. I've never, believe it or not, never played the second one. And the third one, I'm probably about 70% through with Matty Burns on the co-op. So, but I do like the game. And I do think I can't wait for it to come back, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm the biggest Dead Space fan. I never played it though. You know, so, but yeah, but I think it's cool. I love the genre itself. It's cool. And I can't wait for it to come back.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that very much, Noof. And yeah, you know what? I'm there with you. You know, I like seeing old franchises return, especially if they're beloved. We've seen it with Mass Effect, and I think Mass Effect was done with class and precision in the remaster that we just got. And again, I'm very excited to see what they do in regards to bringing us a Resident Evil 2 remake level, retelling of Dead Space. I honestly can't wait. But let me catch up on the super chats, and then we'll get everyone out of here for the weekend. Drawn TJ, generous friend of the show, he drops a $5 super chat, says, happy Friday, Boom and Panel. Well, indeed, happy Friday, and thank you again. JD Gamer, generous friend of the show, has dropped several super chats. The first one is a $20 one. He says, PlayStation is in trouble. No one is willing to say it yet, so I will. PlayStation isn't facing the Xbox of old. They're not even facing the Xbox 360 era. They're facing a little brother that was bullied only to grow up bigger than the bully. I mean, listen, I think you're onto something with that. In saying so, this is definitely like even during that interview with Phil Spencer this week, where he was talking on IGN on Unlocked, and when they asked him specifically what is his favorite time in Xbox, he didn't say the 360 era, which I thought he might have if I would have been the guest. He actually said right now, and that is that's a big statement, folks. He's happy with what is going on right now at Xbox. He's never been more proud of what's going on right now with Xbox. That's really saying something. JD Gamer drops another super chat for $5. Says Microsoft has learned from the previous generation and their mistakes, and has now taken Xbox in at the big table. That means something. That means they expect something MS to hurt PlayStation slowly and publicly. Yeah, I think you're going to see maybe some PlayStation-esque moves from Microsoft. I mean, again, last weekend we saw what happened with a meme go viral, and that what that tells you, folks, isn't that Microsoft has become the market leader. No, the market leader right now is Switch, but of course PlayStation is right there because everyone's buying PlayStation 5s when they can get them, and they've made their most money this year. So let's not mistake that they are still, a competitor. But when you have a meme come out, and this started with Dustin Legary getting accused of being paid for Game Pass, which is preposterous. Now, I don't know, they're not paying him specifically. He's talking about Game Pass because why wouldn't you? There's a lot to talk about. So that's where that meme came from. And it exploded, and it was raging all through social media the entire weekend. But what that tells you is that the mind share for Xbox is real, and it's here to stay. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. We also have Isma Easy drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, in order for Sony to switch their ways to do business more like Xbox with Game Pass, it's going to take years. Sony is losing the race, and Microsoft will be number one. It's definitely possible. And Isma Easy has become a channel member. Well, thank you so much for that, dude. I definitely appreciate that. JD Gamer. Wow, dude, he drops an additional super chat of $10 and says the PlayStation fanboy narrative changes every time Microsoft kills one, and the latest is the quality nonsense. So imagine if Microsoft's big Tokyo Game Show announcement is that they've purchased Square. Sounds like game over. They're holding something. I know that we've heard. I didn't hear this on the interview. Someone said that Phil made a mistake and said 24 studios. Now, I didn't hear that. I only watched the video once. And I know that they're supposedly, I've heard, again, this is my inside source, that they definitely have one already signed, but they're not ready to announce it. I still think TT Games and NetherRealm and potentially even Rocksteady are coming to Xbox. I really do. I think that deal is happening. I think that their relationship with AT&T was proven once again when they did that big deal for the Azure servers the other day. I think something is going to definitely be there for sure. We also have JD Gamer drop another $5 super chat. Wow, dude. Thank you so much for the generosity. He says, and before PlayStation fanboys say it can't happen, it almost did already with Microsoft walking away because Square wanted more money in the final stages of talks. Microsoft they want to spend money, folks. They're in the spending. I mean, everyone. These two companies do not want to lose to Tencent. That is the reality. I don't think they're looking at each other to who can outduel, each other when it comes to studios. I think that they're both fearful that Tencent is going to come in and buy up everyone. And of course, the RNF drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, if EA used the Frostbite engine for Dead Space, imagine that. Yeah, that would be kind of dope. But listen, folks, thank you so much. We had 400 people here on a holiday Friday morning. I can't thank everybody enough. Hopefully you enjoyed the Dead Space 1 gameplay. Let's start with the outros, and we'll start with, of course, our special guest, Asa. I want you to tell everyone about your incredible website. I want you to tell everyone about Game On Daily on YouTube, and I want you to tell everyone that if they want to see pure madness at its finest, they tune in to see Gaz, who is currently possessed, talk about it. You're muted, brother.
You're muted, guess.
Oh, there you go. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, now he's back. Yes.
Oh, you asked so much of me. Yeah, I will talk about all of those things. So Game On Daily is a platform that we don't talk about anywhere near enough. So hit that up, find a little community there, and you'll get news that's tailored to things that your community are interested in and talking about. That's the crux of it. So please do that. Our YouTube channel is a lot of fun. We have a live show every Saturday. It's 9 p.m. UK time, so that'll be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a good show. We've got great guests all the time. We've got BoomStick and Bad Bit tomorrow. And we talk and have good times there, and we have video content there as well. So if you haven't seen Gaz's latest source video, it's an excellent skit full of references that I'm sure will make you laugh. So go and check that out as well. That's Game On Daily on YouTube. And I stream pretty much every day over on Twitch. So if you want to hear more words from me than you'll ever hear on Go Live, then just pop onto my Twitch channel, and I am happy to talk any gaming stuff that comes up. It's always a good time there. That's it. That's me. So you lot across the pond, hope you have a great 4-day weekend, and thank you, Boom, for inviting me on. It's been a good time.
Absolutely, dude. And listen, folks, if you ever want to see the fake Jason Schreier get his ass beat live on camera, you definitely got to go over to Game On Daily and check that out. Yes, it's not actually Jason Schreier, though some people would hope that it would be, but it was a great skit nonetheless. And of course, Noof Nukem, brother, not only do you have your Tuesday evening shows, but you have Good Morning Xbox on Sunday mornings with a panel that is pretty cool, dude. Talk about that. Get some more eyes and ears over there, and tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media. And of course, talk about your weekly game nights that you've been doing. Noof, you're muted too. This is an outrage.
First of all, it's a huge pleasure to be a part of Breakfast with Boom once again. I always love when the bat signal comes out and I get to be a part of this incredible podcast with Dreadpool, Asa, good the first time podcasting with this gentleman, Mr. Bad Bit Cloud. Guys, great show today. And of course, the hardest working podcast host out there in MrBooMStick, the man who makes it great without the clickbait. I love it. Good stuff.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. Obviously, Gaming After Dark Tuesday nights with Mag and Titan Drago and company. And on Sunday mornings, it is Good Morning Xbox, which again goes at 9 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Quite early, but hey,
well, it is Good Morning Xbox.
That is true. It's not good afternoon. It's not good evening. But yeah, so there you go. This week we're doing a giveaway for those who showed up to our podcast last week. It's going to be 6 months of Game Pass Ultimate, courtesy of Crazy Greek Dude. So we're going to give that away. That's going to be really fun. Doing a giveaway on Tuesday night as well. Same deal. Another 6 months from Crazy Great Dude. So if you don't have Game Pass already, it's a great way to hit the ground running. I'm not referring to myself either. And that's about it. Social media, community game night this Saturday. We're getting together on the Xbox for some Titanfall 2, and then we are going to be following that up with some Rocket League. So hope to see a lot of you in the podcast, or sorry, in community game night. It's pretty simple how it works. As long as you got me added on Xbox, it's Noof Nukem, just like you see it in the chat. All you got to do is just basically add me and jump in the open party. You don't need an invite. You just jump in, say, hey man, I'm here for the game night. We'll get ready to roll. It's that simple. If we get too many people, we'll usually make several lobbies and roll it that way. And if we don't get enough, we just hang out and play whatever. And sometimes we even have to switch games on the fly just to accommodate the people that come out and stuff. So it's always a lot of fun. But anyway, it's always a ton of fun to be here. I got to head off to work, but you guys have a great weekend and happy 4th of July to all of my friends south of the border. You guys are amazing. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Noof. Definitely appreciate you being here. Dreadpool, why don't you talk about what you've been going on? And I know that you've been busy at work. There's no doubt about it. You're a working dude, 70 hours a week. Very hard to do, and still, do content creation, of course, podcasting, but you still are involved. Talk about where can people reach out to you on social media and what you're currently up to.
All right. Oh man, I forgot to mute myself.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, first of all, thank you for everyone that showed up today. And also thank you to our guests, Asa and Noof. Noof also forgot to mention that he posts what games are going to be playing. So pre-download those games. Don't jump in the chat and be like, hey, I'm going to download the game right now, because usually by the time you download the game,
the night's over.
The night's over with. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want to hang out, but make sure you download those games ahead of time.
Thanks for that sound advice, especially if it's Call of Duty. Do that a week in advance, please.
Yes. Yeah. You need at least 48 hours.
At least that. So you can find me on Amazon. You can find me at anchor.fm/Dreadpool, which I will be on Amazon for Breaking Bread with Dread. It's on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and quite a few other places. I am bringing it over to YouTube. I did a live with Tiny Giant as requested by Infinite, and I did one with Clowns the other day. So and it's got some positive feedback. So obviously it's the right direction to go. Also, every Wednesday night, Gaming Beyond the Box at 8 p.m. and then Breakfast with Boom right here, Friday mornings.
No, thank you so much for being here, brother. And last, and in no way least, my brother from another, BitCloud Gaming. You got a show. I mean, are you doing your show today at 5?
No, sir. We did it yesterday.
Okay. So So to give everybody the weekend off, you did it yesterday. Definitely check out that. But BitCloud, tell everyone where they can check out your show. More importantly, help you surpass 10,000 subs on YouTube. I know, my God, you're as close as you've ever been. And talk about where can people reach out to you on social media.
Well, as always, thanks for having me. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Great show. Asa, always a pleasure. And of course, Noof. Dreadpool, you already know the deal.
Yep.
Joe, obviously, he's gone. But you guys find me at BitCloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Of course, we're 180 away from 10K. So it's we're getting super close to the
That's
milestone.
awesome, dude. Man, 180 subs. Holy crap. That's awesome.
So if you guys want to help me get past that, it's BitCloud on YouTube. Appreciate it. No RGT podcast today. We did that yesterday with Luca and the gang, talking about obviously the PlayStation debacle and everything. But as far as everything else is concerned, yeah, you guys can find me there. I pretty much been on point with these guys here, talking about the future of course, PlayStation and everything else. So it's going to be an interesting gen. I'll say that much for everybody. It really is. But at the same time, nobody should be like, afraid of anything. You're going to still get the bangers, et cetera, on both sides. It's just this time around, it's different in terms of just one person. It feels like, taking the effort or making the effort to do that. So it's now different. So it's a different ballgame.
Listen, the bottom line is, regardless of what console you own, I think that if, like myself, I'm a multi-plat supporter. I think that even if you are just one console or even two, this is going to be the best. It's funny. We talk about this all the time about how many decades we go every year. This is the best year in gaming ever. We're never going to get 2007, folks. We're getting close.
Yeah,
we're getting close. We're getting real close. And if it's not 2021, which I don't think it's going to be, I think 2022 has the potential to outweigh 2007's incredible lineup, which is still revered as the best year in gaming in history. But listen, folks, more importantly, thank you so much for coming out here. The super chat's ridiculous. So, of course, I want to thank you so much for the generosity, the support on Double Barrel Gaming. We're 1,400 subs-ish away from 10K. Probably by the end of the year, we'll hit it. If you're new, welcome to the program. You get 4 live shows weekly. And this week we did an extra one talking about the Sony situation going on, specifically with the developers coming out and charging Sony with unfair practices. That was about a 60-minute show. That's up if you want to check it out if you missed it. Of course, this is a holiday weekend, folks. I hate being the popo in the room, but please, for the love of Joe, don't drink and drive. Don't do it. Don't get impaired in any way and operate a motor vehicle. I got to say it because I've been by so many wrecks in my 21-year career. It's horrifying, and people never recover from these disasters. Please don't be stupid. Of course, if you're going to use fireworks, don't do that impaired either. You're going to blow off a hand. You need your hand to play games. Don't do that. But more importantly, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my father taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So have a great holiday weekend. Enjoy gaming, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.